Have you improved at all? And then you can use that for next week. They can pull the upset. We have seen some good individual performances from the players. Jwaow in the top lane, I've been impressed. Honestly, he's come in, he's really done what Noxiak did yesterday, been there to make plays and not just sit back and farm. No, he wants to go in, he wants to be the carry, and he has won 2 games now for MeetYourMakers.
So we'll see if Jwaow and Noxiak can pull off the upset. This is the European LCS where every team is capable of winning games. And let's see how picks and bans play out. Nidalee taken off the table, as is Ari for Fnatic. Rumble and Lissandra, that's Huni's champion pool, being targeted very, very heavily. Kori's going to lose access to that Z.
But Rek'Sai is now open, so MYM might be forced to ban Rek'Sai as the last one here. Instead, Hecarim thought Fnatic was going to play it yesterday. Clearly, MYM expected that as well, and have now banned it away. It's a top lane Hecarim, the banning from Huni. And instead, with Rek'Sai being open, it looks like Fnatic are fine giving that to MYM and take the Rengar instead, and simply getting this LeBlanc. And we mentioned yesterday how Kassadin being changed and nerfed has really given more value to LeBlanc as a pick, because Kassadin was one of the good matchups against her. So you just ban Zed, and then LeBlanc has pretty much a free laning phase. That's what they're getting here.
The one thing that we do have to keep an eye on Febiven is whether or not he can play more like Fox and less like himself. There's one LeBlanc game for Febiven. It was a loss, but he went 9-0-5. And the problem was Febiven wasn't able to find the targets that would win team fights.
And that was against MYM, if I remember correctly. Might have been against Unicorns or Love, but it was against one of those 2 teams where all he did was kill the support. Yes. It was against Unicorns, I'm so sorry.
Unicorns, Hylissang and
Hylissang who died like 5 or 6 or 7 times, and Febiven just killed him. But that was the only thing he managed to do, because Fnatic didn't set up objectives beforehand in terms of vision, and they got like that great flank with the LeBlanc. They ran kind of like 5-man first, head first into the Unicorns, and that's where it becomes tough for LeBlanc to really get to the backline and assassinate targets if they can see you all the way. And of course the Rengar, no surprise for Reignover, and also why they give over that Rek'Sai to MeetYourMakers.
So we do see the Gnar also locked in for Fnatic. Huni's going to be playing that up in the top lane. Picked up a victory over Giants last week, I think it was, went 2-0-10. Had a pretty solid performance. And we'll see if he can do the same against MeetYourMakers. Kori's looking quite comfortable and laid back, pulling a little bit of a Pinoy in that chair as he decides who he's going to run
go,
in the middle lane.
Come on, Kori. You want to play it. We want you to play it.
It's going to get played.
Thank you so much. This pick has been used quite a lot in Korea. I've seen it in China as well. Faker even pulled it off earlier today and went huge on this Viktor. You have so much damage. It's absolutely insane. Your mobility is terrible. So if you do get locked down, you will die. But if you don't, if you manage to simply dance around the CC, you can single-handedly win fights just through an insane amount of AoE damage coming from Viktor. And
I really like the option of putting that gravity field stun down once you see the exclamation mark of a Rengar jumping in.
Yes, that's a good point.
The theory that you could, stun him once he jumps in is there. We'll see whether or not Kori can actually make that work.
Yeah, you obviously won't get the one where he sucks him into the center of it before level 16 when he gets the last upgrade. But if you have the proper pink wards down and you have a black shield from a Morgana, when the Rengar comes in, that might just be a bait from MYM. And as you said, put down the W here, the stun, and then Fnatic cannot simply run over that one, and Rengar gets zoned out on his own, and you can just single target kill him. So MYM has some nice little picks. Yeah, I'm really, really happy for Viktor.
Very excited to see how the Viktor plays out. Very, very beautiful touch. YellowStar locks in the Janna on 5.4 with her changes after literally praising Melisandre's Janna. I sincerely hope that YellowStar runs the Fnatic skin in homage to the original world champion. MeetYourMakers looking for their top lane champion to lock in. Jwaow is going to decide on Irelia.
Yeah. It really is comfort picks all around for MeetYourMakers, and that's what Jwaow said last week once they finally managed to pick up a win against the Unicorns. He said, right now, we're just looking to play picks that everyone is happy about. Like, they know they can perform well on this one pick, so we allow them to pick it. We don't really think too much about the team comp itself, just on the player and what he can perform on. They have a comp right here with a fantastic mid-game through the Irelia and the Corki, and then you have so much late-game damage just on Viktor alone that Fnatic, in their situation, while they also spiked really hard in the mid-game themselves, if you go late game and you don't manage to lock down Viktor at the start of the fight, when there's a Black Shield as well to help him, he can turn it around completely and blow you up.
And something that you do have to keep in mind, Fnatic have run a fairly similar team comp to this in the past with Graves, with LeBlanc, with Gnar. And with LeBlanc and with Graves, Febiven and Steelback have not got wins.
That's true.
2 games played, 2 losses for Steelback. This is a team comp where Febiven has to put on his carry pants and work with Reignover and work with Steelback because of the fact that there's no other damage sources. They're very reliant on that Rengar and Gnar to be the front line and letting LeBlanc and Graves clean up house.
Yeah, again, that's why it is still a standard Fnatic comp, a lot of pick potential, strong 5-on-5 team fighting for them. But they haven't always been able to pull it off. SK stopped them. Can MYM do it? Not exactly the same team, though.
No, it's definitely not. But Fnatic, there is the team comp locked in. YellowStar letting the side down. Just using a traditional Janna skin. Hit us up on Twitter, hashtag FNC win, hashtag MYM win. Can MeetYourMakers play spoiler and upset the #2 team in the league? We're about to find out as Viktor is heralding the way for Kori.
I mean, look how badass he is when he's running. My only concern about Viktor is, so he's the guy obviously inventing all these things onto himself. Now, his only weakness is lack of mobility. I would probably have invented wings or like rocket boots. And then he would have been like the best pick in League of Legends.
Deficio, hearing you say that Viktor should have a jetpack or rocket boots is quite literally the last thing I would have ever expected.
I just thought about it one of the other days. And like, if I'm in an inventor, that's what I'm going for.
You know what I'm discovering? I'm discovering whenever mid lane picks excite you, a little bit of personality seeps through. Yesterday, you were telling everybody how you abuse LeBlanc in solo queue.
All I'm doing is preparing for IM Katowice and Doha. And all the things he's going to talk about, so I can charm in.
Have you learned Star Wars yet? Lord of the Rings?
Lord of the Rings, of course.
Star Wars,
I'm a little bit behind. I mean, I've watched everything, but I don't really remember all the details.
Well, I got a special request for everybody watching. Jump on Twitter and tweet at Deficio all your favorite Star Wars and Star Trek and Lord of the Rings memes.
Yes, that's very important. I'm going to need that. I'm going to need that for next week.
Well, luckily we've had some time to waffle and talk nonsense because Fnatic and MeetYourMakers have gone for the defensive start. Fnatic with a little ward towards the Razorbeak camp. MeetYourMakers not venturing past their own territory. Not setting up for a lane swap, which is what we've seen out of Corki and Morgana lanes actually all week long.
Yeah, it's not a very strong 2-on-2 lane, especially not against the Graves and the Janna. So this is going to be trouble for MYM. And obviously Noxiak won't be able to roam either like he wanted to do or did do yesterday. What I do like still about Viktor is also you're into a Rengar. While that can be annoying later on in the game, early on, you know Rengar won't really be ganking that mid lane. So it does buy you quite a lot of time, and he is a bit of a lane bully, the Viktor. He's good in trading with that shield he gets from the Q. And if Horror comes in there as well, that might be a way of really getting Kori going.
Well, we'll see how well Kori can perform, because over the last few weeks since he has returned to the MYM roster, truthfully, individually, he's done well. Very aggressive Steelback there in the 2v2 with that Eye of the Storm, forcing MrRalleZ back. Noxiak, second game on the LCS stage.
The trades, one-on-one, and almost look bad for Kori because there's a LeBlanc level 2. And one of the things you will abuse in solo queue is you push the lane early as LeBlanc. You get level 2 before him, and then you just QW the guy. And he can do nothing, and you have so much damage just by that little combo in level 2. But Kori got level 2 himself, traded back, and won. No potions left for Febiven. So if not Koro, that's a mix of Kori and Horror. But if Horror shows himself in this mid lane, they will be able to force Febiven back to base.
We'll see if Koro can make that one happen. Everyone listening in, keeping notes, hashtag Freelo with Deficio. QW is LeBlanc.
It's a fairly simple one. I mean,
fairly simple one.
The level 2 power spike,
still
it's
counts.
famous. It
still counts. Level 2 power spikes, definitely dictating the name of the game. Small CS advantage for Kori in the middle lane. As Febiven is trying to trade back and forth, but Kori with that siphon power, gonna block some of the damage in return. Let's take a look at the other lanes. We haven't really seen this Irelia into Gnar. And we need to see how well Jwaow can perform. He did TP up a moment or two ago.
So this is the reason for MYM taking the standard lanes. They're going to sacrifice the bottom lane quite a bit, but they want to get a one-on-one for Irelia so she can get to that Trinity Force and she will beat the Gnar. When you have Gnar into Irelia, it's a lane where Gnar can't really teleport on the map because he needs to teleport for the lane itself. Now, first gank, 4 versus 1. Where's that jetpack? It's not there.
No jetpack around. The chains is going to hold Kori in place. First blood secured by Reignover. And
that's unfair though, 4 versus 1.
Come on, dude, it's a team game. You sound salty.
Fine.
Have you been ganked 4 versus 1 in the mid lane before, Deficio?
Multiple times.
Well, this time it works out for Fnatic. They're on the board. 3 assists and a kill to Reignover. Pre-6 Rengar punishing Kori for shoving the wave with that death ray.
Basically, yeah. And also because Huni got that push in the top lane, so he could roam down. No calls, it seemed like, for MYM, so Kori didn't back away, despite 2 people roaming. But Jwaow, again, he's happy in this one-on-one lane. He's going to be the hero. Look at that trade. I mean, there's nothing Gnar can do in return.
Damage.
And it's only going to get worse once you get that Trinity Force, or at least the Phage and the Sheen. You can keep jumping in like that. So again, MYM is putting all the focus on Jwaow, and they're sacrificing MrRalleZ and Noxiak.
The risk is, if Jwaow continues to play aggressive, does Reignover have the opportunity to punish? You can see him moving towards this top lane already. Boots and the Trailblazer completed, and a fully stacked Ferocity bar. Deficio, Reignover smells blood. Huni lands the boomerang, gets the hyper. The baller strike connects. Now Jwow's in trouble. The massive sword goes down, and Jwaow forced to flash away. But another successful gank again before level 6. Reignover, he's the one that's wearing the carry pants today.
And Horo is basically allowing a pre-level 6 Rengar to gank. That should not happen when you're playing Rek'Sai this early here. You should be ready to counter gank him every time. He's spotting him now. Doesn't want to go for it because his own top lane is back in base with no teleport. But I was expecting Horo to be the active jungler pre-level 6, not Reignover. Forced to flash and got a kill for himself on obviously the poor Kori in the mid lane.
Kori still no flash. We'll see how much he pushes this lane. Double Doran rings. Giant Spell pickup for Huni in the top lane. And Febiven's been playing relatively aggressive. Him and the rest of Fnatic winning the public votes. A lot of damage, actually throwing the Ignite out as well. Febiven was hoping for those chains to land, and not this time.
No, Kori's going to get level 6 as well. He has barrier ready. And Febiven is down to 50%, so if he goes in again, Kori should be able to turn that one around and blow him up. MrRalleZ and Noxiak, though, have managed to catch up in farm because YellowStar did have that roam earlier, forced Steelback to sit back and then gave a lot of time for MrRalleZ. So it's going to be an even lane now, and that's good for MYM because they are winning the top lane. So by them catching up because YellowStar were roaming, and because Steelback and YellowStar together has not been the strongest dual lane in terms of laning phase, they've been way better in team fights. That's where MYM still
that was
having a slight edge.
Well, we did see that Steelback and YellowStar were very aggressive in the early levels against MrRalleZ, forced him to lose some CS. There is a wave pushing towards RalleZ at the moment, and he's 10 CS down. So, considering the lane matchup, I think MrRalleZ isn't doing too bad. He's only a couple of CS behind. And we'll need to see how effectively MrRalleZ can use the Trinity Force spike, because I feel like it'll take Steelback a little longer. BF Sword, then Triforce, and then Steelback can get the power back.
It's just they're very different kinds.
Yeah, they do different things, really.
Yeah, different things. A lot more poke, obviously, coming from the Corki, but a lot more burst coming from the Graves when he sits on just a BF Sword and a pickaxe. Or maybe even then Vintage to the Trinity Force. And Noxiak.
That's a flash. Black Shield managed to prevent it, though. Collateral damage comes out, plus Buckshot. Noxiak gets summoning heal from MrRalleZ. Yeah. That's going to keep him alive, but that was a very aggressive play. Actually,
she was summoned by YellowStar.
That's something we don't see from the Fnatic duo, a super aggressive 2v2. It's not what they do traditionally. Also, some development and growth in the Fnatic camp.
Yeah, and also because they're finally getting a good matchup. Normally, it's Steelback sitting on a Corki into the likes of a Graves, and that's a losing lane for him. So he just sits back and farm. But now, he is the guy with the Graves. He has the Janna's backup, so fantastic strong lane 2 and 2. So showing that he can push his advantage. Jwaow, though, is still having a good time in this lane. slowly towards the phase. Horo's here for his first gank. He's not been very active on this map, which is strange, considering that Horo normally ganks a lot, and he's the jungler in the EU LCS, or was at least before this week started, with the highest kill participation, second highest of all players, and that's being again on the number 10 team.
Don't need to gank when somebody walks into your face. No flash for Jwaow, so not going to be able to get a range for that Blade Surge. And Huni doing a decent job. Kori's gone back already. Picked up his Hex Core Mark 1.
Upgrade the E, of course.
Already upgraded that Death Ray, trying to empower his Death Star as much as possible. Consider this training, Deficio.
All right, Trev, I'm your father. Hold on.
Well, that I did not expect. Well done, well done. But we'll have to see whether or not Kori can put up a better showing than Keen did last week. Keen actually lost to Team Liquid with his Viktor. And actually before that, interesting tidbit, Deficio, it was Velocity losing to CLG in 2013, the previous time we saw Viktor.
In the LCS, I think.
In the LCS,
yeah.
correct. In the LCS. Just kind of showing off a little bit at the moment.
And we might see the Katowice, because G-Tiger's mid laner has been spamming it quite a lot. And I'm expecting to see it. Oh, Jwaow though, no flash and no HP.
Nope. 1, 2, done. Reignover plus Huni with a fairly easy kill. They just chained the CC so effectively. And, you know, this is something that we've heard from Huni and Reignover in the past. Because they, of course, both are Korean, speak Korean, they'll just discuss their decision-making in their own language.
Yeah, and the bottom lane does it in French.
French, exactly. So and poor Febiven's like...
He just sits in the mid lane.
Cool story, guys.
He knows nothing.
MYM now got position on Dragon. They've got the support on their AD carry and support in the bottom lane if they need to, but a little bit of presence from YellowStar.
Yeah, again.
Is going to force Horo away. Horo not the most confident start to today's game.
No, and they've really not been reading this Rengar that well from the side of MYM. We got pre-level 6 ganks, we now got 1-on-1 the top lane, and once he shows there, you need to be fast as a team to just go straight for that dragon, because you're going to be 4 guys on the bottom side of the map, but they didn't. They came in really late, so once they started it, they realized that Fnatic was still nearby and Rengar had already recalled and would get back there to fight. So MYM at the moment off to a very slow start. Now they're going in though for YellowStar.
Oh, look at the damage. Monsoon forced to throw Noxiak and MrRalleZ away. Soul Shackles traded for Monsoon, but other than that, no further summoners blown. Small window of opportunity in favor of Noxiak. Those Soul Shackles around 30 to 40 seconds lower cooldown if they want to go aggressive again, but it is very much dependent on landing those Dark Bindings.
Let's see for Kori here. The normal build on Viktor goes, you upgrade your item once in the start just to get that Death Ray, and then you go like Morel, Nomicon, you go... I've seen other Viktors try and upgrade to second one at least, to get also your Q, the movement speed, but I think just Death Ray is enough for you in the start. And then you go like Morel, Nomicon, you go Death Cap, maybe an Hourglass in this case, if he really wants to survive the burst coming in from the likes of a Graves and LeBlanc. Seeing as they will try and snipe that back line, Graves ulti, and LeBlanc dancing around with Distortion. So Kori has a lot of options. Obviously he needs 1,000 gold every time he backs if he wants to upgrade his item, which delays your other core items.
Well, we'll see what he decides to do. Oro's chilling up in the top lane. Huni's decided to get the Hyper, chases onto Jwaow. No Mega Gnar for a little while. Blade surges in. Jwaow had already used the Equilibrium Strike, and Transcendent blades himself back up to HP. A little bit of presence from Horo. The fact that Horo showed himself means Reignover and Fnatic now get control of the Dragon Pit. That's a mistake.
Basically, exactly what we mentioned before here. When Reignover showed top lane, MYM were not ready to start a Dragon. But as soon as Horo shows himself, well, Fnatic instantly take it. Even trading still for Huni. He might get Mega Gnar soon and smack you right to the wall.
He's going to get Mega Gnar, and Jwaow doesn't have the blades. Gnars himself for a kill. Now Kori's caught out, trying to back, and we do see the Sigil of Malice into the Mimic Sigil of Malice. Febiven backs away, despite getting that gravity field down. A slightly overconfident recall position. Kori was shopping maybe too early. And MYM 0-4 now after 13 minutes.
Yeah, really a series of misplays from them. Jwaow was staying there in the lane. Huni made a nice play where he didn't wait for the flash from Jwaow. He just said, okay, I know you're going to do it if I just keep like auto-attack and jumping towards you, so I'm just going to flash ult you instant, not give you a chance. And they gave him the kill in the top lane. Will obviously get the mid lane tower as well. We can see Kori's side. Side just keep on that one upgrade as we mentioned beforehand. And instead, what is he going for with that plastic one this early? Could be a death cap, but that's pretty insane early build. So leaving options, not going for any cooldown reduction.
Not this time round. We'll see what Kori does decide. Steelback, he's got his flash available and his quick draw. Soul Shackles comes out. He's going to buckshot and collateral and flash away from the Dark Binding. Again, a little bit of presence, a little bit of time, a little bit of breathing room for MrRalleZ and Noxiak in that lane. MYM find themselves 3,000 gold down as we approach the 15-minute mark. And they've lost a tower. And a dragon. Like, Fnatic are just, they've had a fantastic start to this game.
Of course, of course. And that mid lane tower is really important because it allows Fnatic now to get more aggressive wards near the Raptor camp and the Wolf camp.
Want to comment on Jwaow being bullied here a little?
No, we've seen it like 5 times already. It's the same. It's over and over.
You think Febiven's going to kill him?
I'm going to say yes, because he's staying on the tower.
Let's see what happens. Transcendent Blades plus flash available. Jwaw's killed the minions away. Febiven is hunting. Deficio said this will work. That's the distortion over the wall. Chains goes out. That's the Mimic Chains. And
yes.
1 point Deficio. Prediction correct.
I can see the future.
Oh, trying to encroach upon the Prophet crumbs, are you? Let's not do battle in that area. Fnatic group themselves up in the bottom lane. Towers drop to a 3rd HP. YellowStar and Steelback decide not to go for it, but they're in trouble. That's a flash knockup. YellowStar does have Monsoon. He's just going to buy a few seconds. They're still alive for the time being.
He's gonna die.
Chaos Storm will land. Kori's on the board, but here comes Huni. He's going to knock Noxiak back. Febiven once more. That's Kori down. Noxiak follows. 1 for 2, and the crowd goes wild. Huni indeed. Fnatic 7 for 1. Febiven's not done. He's looking for Horo. Febiven decides he doesn't want Horo, and he's going to back away.
Still a good reaction here from Fnatic. As soon as the play is being started by MYM, they all come down, teleport, roaming from mid lane. Let's see what happens. So, Noxiak first going on to YellowStar with Horo. Get the Nug up to get him super low. Yes, he does survive in the start, but right now he's just buying time. He wants MYM to keep chasing up the lane here because he knows the rest of his team is coming behind. We're going to get the teleport in, and obviously Reignover is here with Huni, Febiven as well, and they can just start cleaning up. So that flash, even though YellowStar died, bought enough time and pushed MYM even further up the lane, making it a bit easier for them to clean up a few kills.
Well, great performance from Fnatic overall. Huni, despite being under some early pressure from Jwaow, since getting some HP and hitting level 6, 7, 8, Huni has just bullied Jwaow away in that top lane. And honestly, I think Fnatic are just coming out ahead in all of their lanes. You've got a 3-0-1 LeBlanc, you've got a CS advantage for Steelback and a kill on the board. Huni's got that Randuin's already, and look at how much pressure they're putting in MYM's jungle.
Just winning every single lane at this point. Didn't expect the Scepter to come in from Kori here. I don't feel like he needs that magic resistance only against the LeBlanc. Everything else is physical damage from Fnatic. You already run Barrier as well, and you have a Black Shield to defend you. Honestly, that should be enough. I know that LeBlanc is getting pretty fed here, but now you are still delaying like the Void Staff, the Death Cap later on. No cooldown reduction. Gonna have to see what Kori can do with it. But seeing as he already has a fairly expensive build, that one delays it even further.
Viktor in the LCS not necessarily showing off all that is capable. Definitely no Victors here. No Fakers, what I wanted to say. But there is still time for Kori to pull this back. I'm not particularly hopeful. It is a 5,000 gold lead for Fnatic. 3 towers to 0, a dragon, and another one spawning shortly. For MYM to pull themselves back, they're going to be reliant on Kori to have a game-changing gravity field stun. And if they can assassinate someone quickly enough, one of the damage dealers, maybe. Because keep in mind, it is only Febiven and Steelback that are dealing damage for Fnatic.
And that is the thing for MYM. If your Irelia gets back in this game, it doesn't look very likely as Jwaow is now 0-3-0. But then he would be able to jump the likes of, a Graves. And you have the ulti coming in from Kori, maybe Miss Death Ray can get to that back line as well, and you can assist Irelia, and you have a lot of burst damage coming in, a lot of AoE. So we're options for them. The problem is it's 7-1, and we're not even 20 minutes in.
Well, Flash is traded between Reignover and MrRalleZ. Reignover and Febiven are forming a hunting squad, unable to chase down Valkyrie Flash of Corki. But it will give them some more control in the Dragon Pit area. A numbers advantage as well. Teleport is available for Jwaow, but it is not for Huni. So that's why Huni is making his way down, but MYM not looking for this engage. They're too far behind, and it's not worth the risk.
No, MYM at this point is going to have to hope that Fnatic like overdives them or somewhat at the tower, and then you turn it around with like your AoE CC here. You got knock-ups, you got stuns, and maybe like lock them in Morgana also. So there's a lot of CC on the side of MYM, but Kori.
Koro indeed are on retreat.
Yeah,
the Baller Strike is connected. The Ethereal Chains do too. Jwaow is dropped by the collateral damage. I like the fact that Horo interrupted Huni's hop.
But what did Kori do?
Unfortunately, didn't do anything else. 0-4-0. Jwaow not having the best of games. He's looked better in previous weeks. But just Fnatic as a whole. They're moving around, they're alternating between lanes, they're pushing towers. There's very little to fault from the Fnatic squad at the moment.
Yeah, except for this mid tower going down here, because they were giving up their blue buff.
I had to say it, didn't I?
But that was the only small thing. For MYM though, when you are again looking at the schedule and you're looking at which teams you have to beat to get out of the relegation, or out of the auto relegation, it's not Fnatic you're saying, oh, this is the game, right there.
No.
Is that we're going to show everyone what we can do. No, again, you're looking at the teams on the bottom half of the standings. They're going to face the likes of Rocket. Maybe they can pull an upset there. And then suddenly climb out, because they are one-on-one against Giants. We've seen this from Fnatic a few times already, in case people wonder. Very early Baron, they just place a pink ward, and if they know you will focus all your vision on the other side of the map, in this case the bottom side for MYM, they should be able to pick it up for free. Kori's moving now. They're pinging it, but it might be too late.
Yeah, I think it's too late. Gravity Field's out. Kori's going to throw down a Death Ray. Maybe a couple seconds late, but Reignover was able to smite that down. We did see Huni start channeling his teleport, and he cancelled it. So that's not going to be available for a few moments. But with Baron buff, wow! That's a lot of damage from Febiven. Death Cap not even completed yet. Baron empowered minions. Fnatic are sieging 2 lanes at once.
Yeah, Jwaow's left on his own. He's trying to pick up some farm, but he can't really leave his lane. And he doesn't add anything in a team fight because he's only sitting on 24, so he's extremely squishy. Against so much damage already from like a LeBlanc that's gonna basically one-shot him. So it's fairly easy for Fnatic just to go between 2 of the lanes. Get a tower more, open up the map. Horror is sitting on a 100% kill participation, so he's keeping the trend going. But it can't be that tough when you only have 1 kill.
Oh, I'm not going to do math. I'm not going to do math. I failed yesterday. I'm not going to try today.
Well, the thing is, so if you have 1 assist and the team has 1 kill, Trevor, that is 100%.
Thank you.
There you go.
I'm not going to try it. I'm not going to try it. We'll see what MYM can do. The 7,000 gold down. They've given up a Baron. Huni's now set his sights on the Queen of the Xerxes. Horo is going to be forced to burrow over the wall just to get out alive. And look at this Reignover and YellowStar. They may as well set up some flags in MYM's jungle to say, no, 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 this is no longer yours, this is mine. Beware Fnatic members here. Reignover still catches the Dark Binding.
Thing, man, you're not even allowed in your own home, then you know you're falling extremely far behind.
We'll have to see whether or not Fnatic will make any mistakes, whether or not they will let MeetYourMakers back into the game.
Yeah, they can only sit in their own base. That's the only place they can be.
No control at all.
Fnatic have the rest. Like, the jungle is theirs, they push them out. You only have that base. And you don't even have your T2 tower.
Well, Febiven plus Reignover do a very aggressive tower dive. They go in behind the inner turret and pick off Kori again. Unfortunately, MeetYourMakers are unable to fend off. Oh, Reignover's hopped through the wall. That may not have been intended. He doesn't have flash for a few seconds. Monsoon forced to save Reignover. The Gnar goes against the wall. MYM have got their second kill. It's 100% participation for Horo. I think you need to double check that for me, Deficio. Huni's going to carry on chasing through. The stun does hold Horo in place. And at 24 minutes, Fnatic will take the inhibitor in the top lane. This is just domination from Fnatic.
Completely. From basically the get-go of the game. They've been ahead from the start. And that's a fairly easy inhibitor for them. 2 more to go. Gonna have to see quite a play from Kori and MYM if they want any chance. I think it's safe to say Fnatic has it under control.
Yeah, I think so. This is one of those times where Horo's just taking us on a tour across the map. This is one of those
Setting
games
up the dragon at least.
Where you say, this is Fnatic's game to lose because it will take a misplay from Fnatic. Look at this, teleport into the back lane. Huni is looking for more. He's going aggressive. No Mega Gnar yet, but he's got 3,000 hit points to burn through. Collateral, buckshot, all the damages means Steelback and Febiven get themselves 2 more kills. Febiven wants more as he sets his sights on Noxiak. Where is Reignover? Does Reignover want more? Fnatic's doing such a good job. They've got 2 more kills on the board. They're going on the middle inhibitor, and I doubt MYM can defend with no wave clear from their mid and ADC.
There's no super minions yet. They're coming in on the top side, so Fnatic might have to back away and just take the bottom lane as well. You might as well take the whole thing. So what do we do if we are MYM at this point? Obviously, I mean, not in this game. I mean, if you look at the standings and you look at what's going to happen, because Giants has been looking fairly weak the last few weeks. They had a good week where they got 2-0.
Yeah.
Got the surprise win over Elements. But you need them to lose 1 more game.
Yes.
At least. And you have to win 1 more. And you're not facing Giants. You're facing Rocket, if I remember correctly. You've already played Elements. And Unicorns of Love you will face as well. Those 2 games are the ones that MYM will look towards and say, here we might have a chance. I'm lying because they played Unicorns already and beat them. So we just looking at Rocket.
Yeah, MeetYourMakers just have to set their sights, like you said, on the teams that are down in the bottom half of the table. Because unfortunately, this game is next to unwinnable. And, you know, for Fnatic, this is a team that is 1-1 with SK. If SK drops a surprising loss, there may be a tiebreaker for the #1 seed in the European split.
Could be.
There's only 4 games left for both of these teams to play, and they are fighting for such drastically different things. Fnatic to prove that they are the best in Europe, but that would require taking down SK, and for MeetYourMakers to prove they belong in the LCS by taking down one of the other bottom tier teams at the moment. Underperforming teams, maybe a little bit more fair to say.
Yeah, I think that's the one to go for. Huni though, he's going in.
He's got a 3-man Gnar! That's another kill for Steelback. The Monsoon from Fnatic. They've got Horo. Fnatic are onto the Nexus turrets, and behind a massive engage from Huni. Fnatic will win the game. 1-1 on the week. It does not get more decisive than that. MeetYourMakers need to be very, very careful. If MYM do not stop the slippery slope, they will find themselves being shoutcasted by Stress and Pulse in the Challenger Series.
Oof.
There are 4 games before they find out if they are automatically relegated.
Still.
You know, it means 4 chances to not be there. That's the important
thing. But again, this was not the game for them to win.
No.
And we saw that from the start. Fnatic had everything under control. Early game, mid game, they didn't even get to late game, so that was not a problem for Fnatic. Secured the win. Still close to SK. Are they tied with SK or just 1 win behind, I would assume, at this point?
They will be 1 behind on losses.
Yeah,
so
close behind.
Correct. So we'll have to see how effectively Fnatic can play to pull that one out. But, you know, we may be in for that tiebreaker. I'm looking at the rosters for these 2 teams. Fnatic play Rocket next week and Unicorns of Love. MeetYourMakers have a couple of tough games. Gambit and H2K. Those are difficult matches if you are MeetYourMakers. Gambit and H2K, both just in such great form.
Yeah.
And MY have to play SK. in the final week. SK and Rocket. So it's 3 very, very tough games.
It's only the Rocket game for them.
MeetYourMakers.
And that's where they got to hope the Giants will lose every single game from now. And you get that tiebreaker between those two teams. So they have to beat Rocket. That's the one we're looking at.
Yep.
And then we hope, if we are MYM, we don't hope, but MYM hopes the Giants will lose the remaining games they are playing. You get a tiebreaker. You win that one like you beat Giants beforehand, and then you avoid it. But you're still going to relegation, of course, it's number 9.
Yep.
You're just going to avoid auto-relegation. And obviously for Fnatic,